네. 근데 지금 저도 얘기를 했지만 항상 따라붙는 수식어가 이제 천재.
네.
IQ가 180이시라고 제가 들었습니다. 야, 제가 160까지는 중변에 있었거든요.
네.
근데 180은 정말 처음 봤어요. 그리고 주무시기 전에 한 400페이지 되는 그 서류라든지 책 같은 거 읽고
네.
그리고 그 다음에 이제 다음 날 회의 나가서 이렇게 쫙 얘기를 하신다고 자면서 정리 분석이 된다고 하세요. 꿈에서 하시는 건가요, 그러면?
First of all, 180 is my height in centimeters. It's not my IQ.
유머시죠?
네.
For adults, IQ over 160 is impossible to measure, so I don't know. So to answer your question, the trick is very simple. I read before I go to sleep without sounding the words in my mind. I just scan the pages electronically and imprint them on my visual memory. And when I wake up, I always wake up with a more coherent view of the keywords within those books linked together. But I don't have a photographic memory. I don't actually memorize the entire page. I just memorize the connection between those words. So the trick is first to have 8 hours or more of sleep. I sleep until I naturally wake up, and then go back and use full text search. Whenever I need something from the laptop, I would just search on the full text of all the books I've recently read. So it seems like I have photographic memory, but it's actually the result of outsourcing my memory to this laptop.
그러니까 검색을 통해서 읽으셨던 거를 계속 그거를 이어가시는 그런 식인데 자면 나는 잃어버리는데
8, 9시간 동안은
그냥?
거의 숙면을 취하시나 봐요.
네.
그죠?
그것도
정말
대단한
부럽네요.
능력이네요. 네.
정말
근데
그래봤으면.
사실은 중학교 중퇴시란 말이에요.
중퇴네.
네, 그래서 홈스쿨링을 하셨고 그리고 정말 어린 나이에 스타트업을 차리셨단 말이에요. 그래서 어린 시절 어떻게 달랐을까 보통 아이들과는 되게 궁금해요.
Certainly. So I attended 3 kindergartens, 6 primary schools, and 1 year of middle school before I dropped out on the 2nd year. So on average, not really on average, literally each year a different school. And so I guess it gives me a more autonomous learning style where learning is directed not by the teachers or the classes, but rather by my own curiosity and a sense of purpose. When I was 2nd year in my middle school, I finally had a meeting with the head of our school, our principal, and I said, look, I'm very interested in this idea of swift trust. Why people trust each other so quickly online compared to face-to-face settings. Yet we also distrust each other easily online. And there's nothing in my textbook that explains this. Actually, the researchers who are working on this problem answer my email directly because they trust me very easily online. They don't know I'm just 14 or 15 years old. And after explaining this to the head of the school, she said, okay, from tomorrow on, you don't have to go to my school anymore. I don't have anything to teach you. And since it's mandatory education, I will work the bureaucracy to give you room to do your own research. So from that point on, I think that the public servants, career public servants, are the most innovative people in the world. And that feeling still resides with me today.
훌륭한 분이네, 그 교양 선생님이.
진짜 훌륭하신 교장 선생님.
혹시 뭐 그때 그런 질문 말고 무슨 무리를 일으키거나 그런 건 아니시죠?
Yeah, right. So as I said, the head of school, Principal Du Huiping, actually convinced my parents and grandparents for me because she obviously sees the value of directing our own learning online. And she also understands whatever reason she initially wanted me to complete high school, a university degree, doctoral, postdoc research. I'm already doing the equivalent of postdoc research with the leading researchers at that moment. So she sees through this bureaucracy, and we form this good enough consensus that she is willing to innovate on my behalf. And I think that's the most crucial thing. It is to innovate out of a shared value.
그러니까 너무 뛰어나니까
그러니까.
이 학교라는 그 틀 안에 가두면 안 된다고 생각을 하셨던데 그런 교장 선생님 진짜 훌륭하시네.
아니 근데 그 중학생 때 그런 질문을 하러 찾아갔다라는 것 자체가 그때부터 좀 남다르셨던 것 같아요. 그렇죠?
그 장관님 보면은 16세에는 창업을 하셨고 18세에는 미국으로 넘어가셨고 이런 것들은 정말 보통 일반적인 10대로서는 좀 하기 어려운 결정인데 그 당시에 장관님은 그 삶에 대해서 어떤 계획을 가지고 계셨나요?
Always it's my research interest of wanting to understand what makes people trust each other so quickly online and what makes people distrust each other, polarize into hate speech, discrimination, conspiracy theories online. What is the difference in the space design online that makes such a difference? So my research interest naturally took me to various different startups, to different companies. I worked with the Siri team in Apple for 6 years, worked with the Oxford University people on the use of languages in computational linguistics, with a startup called Social Text on social interaction design and so on. And all of this is just to answer this research question that really I'm fascinated with when I was 15 years old.
하여튼 장관님의 모든 일정과 인터뷰 내용, 심지어서 개인 사생활까지 국민들에게 다 공개한다고 들었는데 그렇게까지 할 필요가 있나요?
No, I enjoy doing that because it empowers, for example, investigative journalism. For the journalists who want to give a different take on the policy that we make, they don't have to spend time on getting the scoop, right? They can read through the entire meeting transcript of various different sides of people's ideas
그렇군요.
instead of wasting time to correlate. This person said that person said that. Everyone has the same ledger of accounts to work with, and so the journalism people can focus on the things that are actually contributing to the here and now instead of second guessing one another. And I believe that everyone is potentially a civic journalist. Only when people work in the media, share with the middle schoolers, the primary schoolers, the art of making journalism work, of media competence, not just literacy, can we get an active democratic society that deliberates on the public issues in a meaningful way.
그러니까 정부기관에서 뭐 언론인들을 대상으로 공식적으로 브리핑도 하고 그리고 백브리핑도 하잖아요. 근데 그런 거 필요 없다라는 얘기인데 오늘 월간 커넥트 저희 4명과 인터뷰하는 것도 장관이 공개하실 텐데 어떤 식으로 공개되는 겁니까?
Yes. So we have an additional camera in addition to yours that's filming me right now. So it only contains the part of me speaking because you did not give your consent, right, to be part of the commons. Of course, I encourage you to do so. But even if you don't do so, every word that I speak will be part of this YouTube video, and people will remix it, maybe in some hip-hop song in the future, we will see. And so this gives the maximal reuse value of the public, and they know that what I have answered. And because I meet with journalists like you literally every day, so people essentially, it's a ask me anything daily routine that people can ask to their heart's content.
한 인터뷰에서 장관님이 하신 얘기 중에 정보에 대한 접근권은 인권이다. 이렇게 얘기를 하신 바가 있거든요. 그래서 열린 정부를 지지하는 시장 후보자는 선거에 승리하고 그렇지 않은 분은 낙선하고 이러한 현상이라는 게 타이완뿐만 아니라 전 세계적으로 이제 정보를 어떻게 다루느냐에 따라서 정치인 혹은 그 정당의 어떤 성패가 좌우되는 그런 분위기가 여기서부터 만들어진 거 아닌가 그런 생각도 드네요.
사실 이제 전 세계적인 분위기라고 하셨는데 이게 아마 제가 기억하기로는 2010년에 바락 오바마 전 대통령이 유엔에서 유엔 총회에서 연설을 했을 거예요. 이 관련돼 갖고 그래서 이제 이런 정부의 어떤 투명성을 더 증진을 시키고 그래야지 뭐 민주주의가 더 발전될
네.
것이다. 뭐 이런 믿음을 가지고 같이 추진을 하기 시작을 했었죠.
질문 제가 드리고 싶은 게 장관님은 타이완 국민들의 모든 생각을 담고 싶다 하는 인터뷰를 하셨었는데요. 이게 사실은 디지털 기기를 사용하는 젊은 층들의 의견을 수렴하기는 수월하지만은 디지털을 사용하지 않는 그런 다른 세대의 사람들에게는 오히려 또 그 아이디어를 얻기가 좀 어려울 수도 있을 것 같은데 이런 한계는 어떻게 극복하실 생각이신지?
Well, we need to bring technology to where people are, rather than asking people to adapt to the technology. So in Taiwan, if you have something to say to the Central Epidemic Command Center, you just pick up your phone and call this toll-free number 1922. So you may be someone really senior or someone really young. Maybe you have not used broadband before, but it's really just one phone call away. And it's not voicemail or some automated call center. It's a real person, either a professional from a call center with a lot of empathy or supported by our charity, by the social sector people. But in any case, for example, last April, when a young boy, really young boy, called saying, hey, you're rationing out mask, but all I got was pink ones. I'm a boy, I don't want to wear pink to school. All the boys in my class have navy blue masks. Well, it resulted in the very next day, 2 p.m., all the medical officers wore pink masks. And Minister Chen Shizhong even said Pink Panther is his childhood hero. And the boy became the most hip boy overnight, for only he has the color that the heroes wear, and the hero's hero, I guess, wear. And the fashion brands doubled down. So for a while, pink is the most fashionable mask color until the Pride parades changed that to rainbow. But anyway, the point I'm making is that even a very young person or a very senior person enabled by the 1922 toll-free number or their local community, their district managers, the pharmacists nearby, the convenience store staff, and so on, can interact fully with our digital democracy.
얘기를 나눠보니까 얼마나 다양한 통로로서 정부와 국민을 좀 연결하기 위해서 힘쓰고 계신지 느낄 수 있었는데요. 디지털 장관으로서 앞으로의 계획과 정말 온전한 인간 오드리탕으로서의 삶의 계획은 어떻게 되시는지 궁금합니다.
So in next year, we're planning to make sure that the national action plans on open government is shared with all the democracies around the world. Today, we talked about how to counter the pandemic and the disinformation crisis, the infodemic. But I believe in the next years, something that is even porous than the biological virus, a virus of ideologies, namely the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, will capture people's attention too around the world. And indeed, for the past couple years now, 80% or more of our presidential hackathon champions are working on mitigating the climate emergency. So using digital and the global neighborhood that we have formed countering the pandemic together to tackle the structural issues of accounting for the carbon and other greenhouse gases, that I believe is something that Taiwan can help, and also digital technologies can help. And personally, I believe I will continue to work with the government and work with the people, no matter which social position or role that I play.
끝으로 월간 커넥트 시청자분들께 끝인사 부탁드릴게요.
I always quote my favorite singer-songwriter Leonard Cohen, who says something about the digital democracy and the potential to co-create resiliently out of a crisis. Goes like this: ring the bells that still can ring, forget our perfect offering, for there is a crack in everything, and that is how the light gets in. Thank you for listening, and live long and prosper, everyone.